The cover memo by me, Scott Wordsman. As a teenager, I was never too fond of the reliance that society had on technology. Ironically enough, technological advances now play a big role in my life as a student, a writer, and a videographer. So, why did I harbor such anti tech views as a youth? Well, I was never the kid with the flashy iPod, the hip trendy cell phone, or the sleek new laptop. Even in elementary school, I was reserved and introspective, and preferred to read on long car rides instead of fiddling around with a Game Boy. I was also just as content to play sports outside as I was to playing simulated versions on video game consoles. In fact, I'm still that way today. However, as I grew up through the school system, I started to become more exposed to new technologies, and much to my chagrin, I started to like it. Fast forward a few years to my senior year in college, crunch time, buckling down, figuring it all out, right? Sure, well, these are trying times for any aspiring career professional. What do you want to do with your life seems to be the ubiquitous question targeted towards the apprehensive 21-year-old. Does this remind anybody else of the movie The Graduate? Well, unlike Benjamin Braddock, I had an answer for my friends and family. I told them, I want to write. And I have written, and more specifically, I've written for the digital world. As a student within the Writing Arts department at Rowan University, I found that a lot of my classes have stressed the impact that new and evolving technologies have on the creation of written texts. Utilizing several of the writing arts core values, I've learned to evaluate my writing via an academic spectrum. Through writing, research, and technology, I've written for a wide array of multimodal digital mediums that have propelled me further into my academic endeavors as a writer, a researcher, and a thinker. I've managed a WordPress account, but Weebly was completely foreign to me. I've heard of it, but I've never really worked with it. Thankfully, after a crash course on the site, I realized that Weebly is the perfect medium for displaying all of the digital work necessary for completing an e-portfolio. As a creative writer, I also found ways that Weebly could satisfy the left side of my brain. Through my Twitterive, which I'll elaborate on later, I discovered ways to embed tweets, pictures, songs, and videos. I found that by incorporating numerous forms of media instead of just the traditional word, I could tell my story with greater effectiveness and entertainment. Weebly also allowed me to work cohesively with group members in my class, through both blogging via Weebly and interacting with group members who also had Weebly accounts. An exchange of information was fluid and simple. All in all, Weebly became the perfect medium for featuring my collection of works. I mentioned the Twitterive just a minute ago, but I'd like to discuss Twitter first. When I was in high school, Twitter was a relatively new social medium. However, as I progressed through my years at Rowan, so did Twitter, eventually gathering mainstream appeal. I would argue to say that Twitter is soon to eclipse Facebook as the most frequented social medium, but I'm digressing. Through live tweeting, a process that involves tweeting about an event or situation at the moment that is currently happening, all thoughts on the subject can be recorded in real time. In writing, research, and technology, live tweeting was utilized in a very clever and novel way. Instead of writing reports on John David Ebert, Lev Manovich, and Joseph Campbell, I live tweeted them. This presented a new style of writing and thinking for me. Additionally, Twitter allowed me to communicate with my classmates via to-the-second responses, retweets, and marking tweets as favorites. By analyzing scholarly text through the social medium, I was better able to interpret the meanings the authors had by having access to my classmates' thoughts and ideas. This multidimensional style of writing is representative of Twitter as a progressive technology. Resultantly, the incorporation of sophisticated and varied texts into tweeting directly reflects core value number 3 in the writing arts department. At the same time that my tweeting assignments were occurring, I began working steadily outside of class on the digital oral history assignment. The basis of my project revolved around interviewing close friends on their experiences with technology, digital mediums, and the use of electronics in the classroom and for leisure. I collected 3 interviews with 3 of my roommates and another friend. I also answered my own questions, speaking into the computer and giving my insight on certain aspects of my technological life. While the answers I received from my friends were varied and substantial, a revision I would make for my next effort would be to interview a more diverse group of subjects. Seeing how my friends and roommates are all of 21 years of age, our experiences and reflections on technology were very similar. If I had the opportunity to complete the assignment again, I would choose to interview my parents and grandparents in hopes of collecting a more varied spectrum of answers. Despite the setback, the digital oral history project furthered my experiences with Prezi and also let me see what was going on in the heads of my peers. Maintaining personal awareness of my writing is extremely integral in regards to both professional growth and self-criticism. Through the Twitteriv, I was able to track my writing from the earliest moments that I put pencil to paper, or in this case, fingertips to keypad. In the time spent leading up to the Twitteriv, my classmates and I began tweeting popular maxims and evaluating them in terms of meaning and sentence construction. After a week or so of tweeting our favorites, we came up with our own, which we then turned into a contest. By using the retweet application as a form of voting, whoever ended up with the most retweets was deemed the winner. This exercise was both entertaining and didactic, allowing us to explore our creativity while learning how to properly use hashtags and new types of sentences. Out of all my class-related tweets, this one got the most retweets. After the project was completed, the Twitteriv was next in line. In the initial stage of the Twitteriv, I engaged in a live tweeting of a typical Sunday night. From my introspective tweets, I then developed a primary draft of the assignment. I analyzed my tweets and mentioned exactly what I was thinking and doing at the time of the tweet. Although my analysis was intriguing and thought-provoking, I realized that I only used one style of writing. Thankfully, a second draft of the Twitteriv was in order. By this point, I developed a multimodal approach, which incorporated tweet analysis, pictures, music, prose, video, and several other elements. From understanding that digital forms of writing provide a stage for many kinds of rhetoric, I decided not to limit myself in just traditional mediums. By presenting my project through multiple styles of writing and expression, my aim was to maintain audience attention in a more non-traditional way. By demonstrating this self-critical awareness of my current work, my past work, and where I'd like to go in the future, the Twitteriv assignment coincides with the 5th Writing Arts core value. In late October, Tim Young of Splunk Inc. had a video conference with my writing, research, and technology class. Through his talk, I learned the importance of web-based content and how every word written through the internet format can possibly be traced. Although it's daunting to think that there's an omnipresent internet government, the scare factor led perfectly into my next two assignments. The first involved successfully trolling the comment section of a YouTube video. My group members and I assumed various roles in trying to evoke a response out of commentators. At first, we were unsuccessful. This is due to the selected video being over 3 years old and with a fairly dormant message board. However, after scouring the depths of YouTube, my group members and I found a video on college statistics and their impact on future employment. Here, I took the role of antagonist and questioned the comments of several viewers. I got a few responses, however none were extremely poignant or well crafted. From here, my group members and I moved on to our second related project, an alteration of a Wikipedia page. Establishing electronic publishing as my selected interest, I did the necessary research and created compelling bits of insight to add to the Wikipedia page. But alas, my efforts were thwarted by the pesky, even pretentious Wikipedia page editors who deemed my addition unworthy and extraneous. Despite my failed attempts, I learned that developed and correctly cited material bodes better for Wikipedia edits than pontifications and opinions do. From Tim Young's conference to the YouTube message board and to the Wikipedia page, writing arts core value number 7 was extremely prevalent. Understanding that the written word carries ethical responsibilities on the internet is of vital importance in today's internet age. The benefits of the YouTube conversation and the Wikipedia entry did not just end here. As parts of a bigger whole, these two smaller assignments led me right into perhaps my favorite multimodal assignment, the collaborative research project. This project was a very rewarding and enriching assignment. Instead of creating a dull final paper, my classmates and I were instructed to create an interactive research project that combined our personal thoughts as well as the support of distinguished scholars on a specific subject. Utilizing electronic publishing as our principal topic, my group members and I each covered certain aspects of this field. Having an interest in books, I decided to gear my writing toward the future of publication, both with ebooks and real, tangible books. Through an annotated bibliography and a collaborative works cited page, I was able to create an argument that was not only well researched but also well supported. As a result, I learned a great deal about a field that I would eventually want to work in. Through the span of my research project, I also worked towards the completion of other related assignments. Now, I want you to take the chance to explore my Weebly, read some of my blog posts, check out my tweets, and guide your way through my collaborative research project. With the world of writing progressing toward the digital medium, I believe that a lot of research I've conducted will serve as a testament to the power of the electronic age in regards to reading, writing, and the future of composition.